All right, good morning. Thank you for watching my channel. So, on the amazing, the wonderful Discord. I mean, so many cool people on Discord, and unfortunately I'm in a stage in my life right now where I just don't have time to write long responses or have long interactions on Discord. So one of the reasons I'm making these videos, one ways I'm using my YouTube channel right now, is to continue the conversation with those on Discord. And with this video, I wanted to respond to a kind of a book club meeting that I engaged with, not really engaged with, more just listened to for about 30 minutes. I think they went a lot longer, on Brave New World, Aldous Huxley. Two individuals, I believe, were arguing that this was a utopian vision. And that took me aback. They even seemed to be swaying some people to a certain degree. And on reflection, it I suppose shouldn't surprise me, but I wanted to explain a few things about my reactions to the book. Number one, I guess my reaction is pretty violently against this book as a utopian dream. In effect, it is in large part because I don't think it has any solution whatsoever. The savage is not a solution. The state soma product is not a solution. The solution is not even in the show. I mean, to me, the solution is Christianity, but it's also an epistemology that allows one to learn from everyone, to suppress nothing. And there was tons of suppression in that, and there wasn't any Christianity. So I'll talk about that more. But I wanted to point out that my theoretical system, which I just mentioned, being able to learn from everybody, would have me recognize that it is my commitments that make Brave New World to be not a utopia, not necessarily something objective. It is a dystopia subject to me, relative to my subjective experience, which is not to say that you cannot make some kind of objective claim about what my subjective experience is. It's just harder because most objective claims come from measuring lots of individuals with controls and that kind of thing. I shouldn't say it's harder, it's less certain. I could be lying, and how would you know? I guess you could hook my brain up to a machine of some sort that could tell you if I'm lying. That's about as close as we can get, and that is a piece of science, an objective methodology used to measure something subjective. Okay, that was not part of this, but it was kind of interesting. So, why is Brave New World a dystopia? Okay, first of all, I believe the book greatly mistakes pleasure and happiness, momentary happiness, from something deeper, something like joy, something that is mood level instead of reaction level. So if you're happy, I think of happiness or having fun, being entertained, having pleasure. These are reactions to the moment, and they can be these kind of I was about to say soporific, but I've recently realized that the term is not often used the way I think it is. It's like a baby sucking on a pacifier. You know, that just there's no depth to it. There's no character growth out of it. So I would describe joy as a mood, not as a reaction, as having a understanding of oneself, having how do I say this? Having pushed oneself towards what appears to be one's highest self. And of course, I think Christianity is the ultimate tool to achieve that. So how should I unpack that, or should I unpack that? Let me go back to Brave New World first, and if I come back to this, I will, because this is about Brave New World. So, John the Savage, I believe his name is John. My problem with this character is that he does not... Oh, and there's so many other things I want to talk about, but I'll talk about John real quick, excuse me. So the best he can figure out is to be by himself and whip himself. And a part of that is because there's no structure in either the... He's an interesting character because he's not precisely a savage. He grew up in the savage lands, but he's kind of like an educated savage, if you will. But he's an educated savage without the state soporific of soma and orgies, and the conditioning that lets one shut off all ideas of personal growth and personal development. That's what the state of that time tries to do. It tries to deaden ambition. And I don't mean ambition merely in the negative way there. I mean it in the positive way of I could aim at my highest self that I might best bless others, for instance, which is kind of the Christian model. Although we could talk a lot about the Christian thing, but I'm not going to right now. Okay, John, the best he seems to have is to isolate and whip himself. It's not a solution, especially since he has no capacity to handle He has no strength, really. I mean, he has rage and he has physical strength, but he has no character strength. And so he is not able to function, he is not able to, for instance, undermine the state, which I think a Christian could, which is perhaps one of the reasons there are no Christians in this story. And not just a Christian. I guess I should say that I suspect there are other... I don't think any other religion could have as strong effect against that culture in that book as a Christian would. Buddhism, I'm going to get myself into trouble. I respect Buddhists. I respect people who use Buddhist teachings in their own atheistic practice. But I worry meditation can be another soma. When Christianity meditation has a lot of the same qualities of becoming self-aware, but it does not have the quality of self-reduction and of thought reduction, or of and people will probably tell me I'm misunderstanding. No, it's fine. I'm saying, let's say, the worst case scenario of a Buddhist teaching. The worst case scenario of a Buddhist teaching would be using it as a soporific, just like soma, just like orgies. This is a way to... Oh, man. But I've even heard... That's interesting, because I've even heard... Okay, so I met a guy... I'll go ahead and tell the story. I met this guy who went to a Buddhist retreat and was learning how to tap into this kind of pleasure response in meditation, where it was like... orgasmic pleasure almost in this process of meditation. And the Buddhist teachers there were like, no, you don't want that either. That still roots you in Maya, in illusion. You have to get beyond all that. And that's pretty powerful, I think. Although, again, I think... I'm not going to talk anymore about Buddhism. I'm sorry. Okay, so there is... John, there's the society which conditions you to be able to live without self-growth. through, this death therapy, through soma. If you're too stressed, stress and boredom are fuels, for the fire of creativity. When you're unhappy, you are motivated, unless you're depressed, of course, which is kind of like sustained. It's on the mood level instead of the reaction level. If your reaction level is sadness, you can still be motivated to overcome your sadness. But if you have had so much sadness that now your mood is perpetual depression, then you have to, I would say, have help getting out of that. Okay. Oh man. Self-development is, to me, the key to true happiness. That world is dystopian because there is no self-development, not even in the savage. There's only self-destruction in the savage because he has no model of self-development, of going beyond his, Christ took our stripes. He took our whippings. We still whip ourselves, not in the medieval way of actually doing it, but in the discipline, in self-discipline, in a spiritual whipping, if you will, of I will not give in to my desire for orgies and soma. I will find the correct level, amount, time, place for my pleasures, and I will not be consumed by them. Something like that. Thank you.